All right, well, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Getting through the month of May. Next week we've got Memorial Day, so month is moving right along. Don't blink, it'll be Christmas. Um, so anybody have any wins they want to share this week?
I'm excited to continue my program.
That's a big win. I like that. That's fabulous. That's fabulous. And Pat, the other lady on the call, she's been with us for a long time, and she comes back too. So I'm so, I'm so happy that you guys keep coming back and joining and just staying plugged in. It's such an important piece. You know, we started to we're going to talk about that today. That's like really a great segue. We're talking about habits and how to create good ones and let go of bad ones and all that stuff. But staying connected with like-minded people, with like-minded goals and like-minded, ideas and things, and or people that have what you want, surround yourself with them. They say you're the five, you're the, how does that saying go? You're the 5% of the 5 people that you hang out with. That doesn't sound right, but you kind of become who you surround yourself with. And I have to say that's absolutely true. When I started my personal training business, I started an in-home personal training business. So I joined a networking group, and it was a business networking group for business owners. I also then joined the Chamber of Commerce. And so I go to these meetings and go to these networking functions and all of that sort of stuff. And I literally surrounded myself with business owners, whether it was dry cleaners or restaurants or an accounting company or an interior designer or travel agents or whatever. They were all business owners or representing a business owner. And so it just became normal and natural to own a business. And so it gave me, courage is probably a good word, but something else. Like it was just part of the program. Like this is how you do life, is you open a business. And so I hadn't, by surrounding myself with business owners, it gave me the courage and the strength, mental strength, to open my gym. And so I bought into this franchise, and I didn't know what I was doing, which is why I got a franchise. But it would just seem so normal and natural. And of course, your people, your Chamber of Commerce, they come help you celebrate your grand opening, and you get that kind of support and reassurance from those people and all of that. So surrounding yourself with the winners is another good habit, which really isn't in today's talk, but there you go. And then after the gym went away and I thought, okay, I'm ready to do this again. And the vitamin store came for sale. And it was my vitamin store that I would buy stuff from and refer my clients to. And it turns out, and it was 2 miles from my house. And it came up for sale. And then I ended up purchasing that and running that for 2 years. And it just seemed like the normal, natural thing because I surrounded myself with business owners. So by surrounding yourself with other people looking to get healthy and get fit and eat right and sleep right and do, things that keep us healthy, you're really putting yourself in the right place and surrounding yourself with good juju, as they say. Awesome. So I will share my screen. Okay, so today we will be talking about Atomic Habits, which is a book. Let's go ahead. So our agenda today, we got some shout outs and some welcomes. We're going to go into Atomic Habits. This is all of my information today came from James Clear's book on Atomic Habits. And it's a book on tape or it's a, hardcover. However you like it, I would encourage you go through it. It's got some really, really insightful, good ideas, but I'm going to share a lot of those with you guys today. We'll go.
I do have the audio book of that. I haven't started it yet, but that's one that I bought months ago when I had a credit on my account. So it's in my queue of all my audiobooks.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's fabulous. I hate to tell you this, but I'm pretty sure you can get it for free right on YouTube. So for anybody else listening, actually, no, go to Audible because he deserves to be paid for his good work
Yeah.
because it's worth it. But I think that would be it would be good karma. But if you really can't afford it, you should listen to it. And you can listen to bits and pieces of it on YouTube too. And there's a lot of people doing little clips and bits and pieces, which kind of just inspire you to go, oh yeah, it makes things that seem impossible way more possible. So we're going to go over the atomic habits, step by step, how to create it, smart goal setting, and then of course Q&A. So I thought I would start with, okay, so we've got some shout outs. We've got Doris down 5 pounds in her first week, but almost more importantly, she's down 1% in body fat, which it doesn't sound like much. We're going to talk about 1% today, which is a big deal. But 1% of body fat is a lot. Usually it's point something, yeah, week to week to week. So when you go down a whole point, that is a really big deal. So kudos to you, Doris. Good job in sticking to it. And this is just her first week. Kim is down 17 pounds, and her husband, Bill, is down 29 pounds. Now, as you can see, they're both probably eating the same things. So when you guys hear me say the guys are down all these big numbers, it's just because that's how men are wired, chemistry wise. So don't compare yourself to the men, compare yourself with the you were last week. That's it. I would like to welcome in Rebecca, Heidi, Diane, Joanne, Andrea, Tammy. Yes, we have another Tammy. She spells it different than me. Craig, Melanie, and Sharon. So welcome everybody. Where is everybody today? I'm hoping that everybody just went on vacation. So this is a cover of the book, and he talks about tiny changes equals remarkable results. I just can't say that enough. Good book. All right, so let's dig right in. We will talk about SMART goals. So what are SMART goals? So you take the acronym SMART. So we'll start with the first one. So if we want to set goals, we just don't want to say, okay, I'm going to become a doctor. Well, okay, that's something, but let's dig into that. Is that a SMART goal or not? Let's see. Well, I suppose it could be specific. You do want to be very specific. The brain loves clarity. So the more specific you can get with your goal, the better off you are. Number two, something isn't measurable. So specific, if you say, I want to lose weight, that's not going to be a SMART goal. But if you say, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to get into a size 9 or whatever, that would be specific. That would be something that you could also measure. And that way, you're on track. So if weight loss, pounds, is a number that you're aiming for, your goal. So if you want to lose 20 pounds, and if you're doing the deal and you're working hard and you're staying the course and you're compliant, 2 pounds a week is ambitious, but it's doable and it's healthy. It should only take you about 10 weeks to lose 20 pounds, for example. So at 5 weeks and you've lost 10 pounds, you're on track. But if at 5 weeks you've only lost 1 or 2 pounds, that's measurable. But the fact that it's measurable tells you you are or are not on track. So if at 5 weeks you've only lost a pound, we need to go back and look at maybe our system or our plan as to how we're planning to lose that weight. The next one, the A, is it achievable? Can I lose 20 pounds in 10 weeks? Yeah, that is, because 2 pounds a week works. If I want to lose 20 pounds by next Friday, that really would not be what I would consider an achievable. And it certainly wouldn't be a healthy way unless you went into surgery and they cut out 20 pounds of your body, but that's kind of gross. Anyway, I would like to trade this next R instead of realistic because I feel that was too much like the achievable. But I would say, is it relevant? Is it relevant to my goals? Is it relevant to my values? Is it relevant to what I really, really want? And so what I mean by that is, okay, if I want to be a doctor, but I'm 60 years old and I want to retire in the next 5 years, becoming a doctor and starting now is not in alignment with my goals, because how the heck would I retire if I haven't barely scratched the surface of med school by the time I'm 65? So that really would not be relevant. So I might have to come up with something else. If I'm doing a career change, I would have to come up with something else that might make a little bit more sense for me and my values and what's relevant to me. Hope that makes sense. And then the T, the last one, is timely. This is really important. Give it a time. And like we said in the measurable, like if it's 20 pounds in 10 weeks, we know if you're measuring yourself every week, you know if you're on track or not. If you're getting that 2 pounds every week, you're on track to hit that 20 pounds in 10 weeks. So if it's timely, if I say I want to lose 10 pounds by Friday, we go back to the A, that's not achievable. So we got to go back and fix it all. So if we have all of these pieces, if it's specific, if it's measurable, if it's achievable, if it's relevant to your goals and values and dreams and what you really want, and if the timeline works and is appropriate, then it would be considered a SMART goal. So, all right, so now we know the importance of goals. It is importance of goals. Goals are the director. Goals are the direction. Goals give us a direction. Okay, I have a goal of losing that 20 pounds in 10 weeks. That's great. But now, but that isn't the whole thing. If you watch football or if you watch baseball or any sporting event, you watch the NBA, you watch pickleball, you watch tennis, you watch any of that. Every single solitary one of those players has all the same goal. Every one of them has the goal of winning. They all want the trophy. However, the team that wins most likely had a better system for their practices, for their rehearsals, for the way they practice and rehearse their different plays, how they're going to maneuver, how they're going to overcome certain obstacles when they're up against the different teams, the different systems. Same with climbing that mountain. Everybody climbing that mountain has the same goal of reaching the top. So, but the person who reaches the top probably had a better system on how they train for that, and how often they train for that, and how long they train for that, and what they actually do to train for that, all these little systems. So back to weight loss, if we have a goal of that 20 pounds, and I'm just saying 20, your goal could be completely different. But if I have that certain goal of that number, but if I don't have any systems in place, I'm probably not going to reach that goal. However, if I get some systems in place, I meal prep on Sundays, I schedule in my planner the 3 or the 4 or the whatever days I'm going to go to the gym or at least work out at home. I'm very specific. If part of your SMART goals, I'm specific with my workouts will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 o'clock. And I'm very specific. Monday is yoga, Wednesday is the Zumba, Friday is a whole body workout, whatever the case is. The more specific I am with these different little systems, the better off I will be. The brain, again, loves clarity. So the more dialed in the system is, the more likely I will be able to carry it through. And if I'm carrying through with my systems, I'm much more likely to hit that goal. So systems is really, really the key element to reaching that goal. All right, so what's better, massive change versus 1% shifts? So, Tony Robbins says, he talks about he talks about the MAP, the massive action plan, take massive action. And he's a big man with big ideas and big dreams and goals himself. And he's achieved quite a bit, if you're familiar with him. But there's one area I do disagree, and James Clear, the author of the book, I think would also disagree. And these 1% shifts is what's going to do a far better service to us. Massive change, that's like motivation. Massive change, we get a big idea, we want to do this thing, we say, okay, I'm going to do the thing, and then we lose our mojo, so to speak, and we peter out. But if we systematically, there's the systems again, 1%, they say if you do 1% shift every single day for a year, you are now 37% better than you were at the beginning of the year. And it goes both ways. If you get 1% worse each year, you can go backwards. So pay attention to your little habits. Habit tracking is really, really, really important too. And he does talk about that in the book as well. So like if they say, if the airplane, if just shifts by 1%, and you're going from LA and the plan is to go to New York, but you shift by 1%, you might end up in Florida. Over time, it adds up to quite a bit. The 1%, the little teeny tiny things that we do every single day. And there was this example, and this is kind of a metaphor, I guess. And it was showing me this big giant boulder. And it had these, like, I want to call it giant nails. I can't think of what they're called. And they're all a few inches apart. Big giant boulder, a few inches apart. And the guy's pounding. And then the next one, pounding, next one. Nothing's happening. So a lot of times you will not see a result with your 1% shifts. And just know that you're not going to see results right out of the gate. But he kept going 1%. And he kept going along this line right down the middle of this giant boulder. And he hits the last one. And at the very end, he hits the last one. He hits it, and the whole giant boulder splits in half, which was the goal. The goal was to cut that boulder in half. So which one was it? Was it that one last hit that broke the boulder? Or was it the consistent hitting those nails one by one, little things that he did every day until it finally broke in half and shifted? So the same thing, I would say, goes, okay, you're going to start exercising. And so you start, okay, I'm going to just do one push-up. Okay, well, we all know one push-up isn't going to do a darn thing. But if tomorrow we do 2 push-ups, okay, that's not going to do much. You're not going to see a result. The next day you do 3, the next day you do 4, and eventually you build and build. So eventually you'll be able to do 20. Now you're going to start to see a result. You'll start to gain some strength in your upper body and in your chest and in your arms and your shoulders. And eventually, once you do that, you start to speed up your metabolism. That's how you build your metabolism, is get more lean muscle. But it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen with those first few push-ups. It's that 1% growth each time. So starting small and not giving up and staying persistent is a really good habit in of itself. Willpower versus discipline. Where is my... So willpower, let me see if I can write a little bit. I'm going to save that for later. That was more. Well, this is motivation. So motivation usually starts big, and then it bounces down, and then it peters out. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. So motivation starts big like anything else, and then it's peters out. So that's your willpower. Okay, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to quit all of my stuff and I'm going to go to the gym 18 times a week and I'm going to, meal prep all the stuff. So big motivation, willpower, and it peters out. Whereas if you have small little disciplines like this 1% and we stay consistent, it stays consistent. We know what happens with that rock if we stay consistent. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that's what consistency is. That's what a little disciplines looks like. So I would say practicing little disciplines. We're going to talk today of how to create that. And then the next up, we've got the I ams. Who are you becoming? So as we practice these little systems, as we put these systems in place, and we start to, like in the system of meal prepping or making your own food, and say that's not a thing for you, you don't really like to cook, you don't even want to be in the kitchen much, you start small. You start with maybe the protein pancakes, which all it is a scoop of protein powder and an egg, mix it up, and then you put it in the frying pan and you make some pancakes out of that. That would be a good first start. Little simple things like that. And you start with the fastest, easiest, simplest things. So as you practice these little disciplines, the little disciplines of making the short, easy to do little systems towards meal prepping, you are becoming someone who meal preps. You are becoming someone who has the habits of a healthier person. So like Jim Rohn, I love him. Go to YouTube. I highly encourage it. Go to YouTube and follow him. He's funny and he's inspiring, but he's very thought-provoking. Just he gets me thinking, and he makes me think that life is possible, like the big things are possible. And what he says is, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenges, wish for more wisdom. The major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is what you become. Success is not to be pursued, it is to be attracted by the person that you become. And I would say that who you think you are is a very strong driving force. Tony Robbins says the strongest force in the human personality is the need to be consistent with who you think you are. So you start with your I ams, however you finish that sentence. And I'm thinking, so my example is when I was heavy, but in my mind, my thought about myself was, well, I am Italian. And all the women, and my dad was a late starter. So he was 40. I was a firstborn and he was 40 when I was born. So all of my aunts were way older. Everybody was older. But the women were all very barrel shaped. So I just thought Italians, but the Italians in my family were just overweight. That's just who we are. That's just how it is. And so that was who I am. And then eventually when I learned about foods and about the glycemic index, and I learned about which foods put me in fat burning, and I lost all that weight, and I realized that has nothing to do with being Italian. I also learned that there's a lot of Italians who are very fit and healthy and don't have to be a barrel shape. If I do gain weight, that's where I gain it, all in the middle. I'm shaped like a barrel if I don't eat right. But because it was the who I am, it kept me in a kind of in a little bit of a bubble. And so another thing that help, and it can serve you or it can hurt you, it can be your friend. One of the ways to improve or to shift your identity basically your identity is kind of your thermostat. That's a better way to put this. Your identity is your thermostat. So we all have a thermostat. My thermostat at the time, I'm Italian, I should be barrel shaped. So I would lose weight sometimes, but my identity was I'm Italian, barrel shaped woman. So if I lose the weight, I'll come right back up to that thermostat. Like when we set the thermostat for 75 degrees, you open a window and it's hot or cold outside, it's going to change the temperature in the room. But the thermostat will kick on and the temperature goes right back to where it was, right back to the identity. Same thing, if I even gained a little bit of extra weight, but my identity's here, I'll be, oh, hell no, that's too much. And then I would lose it and come back to here. So that's why people kind of go up and down, but they kind of have their standard, their identity, or where they're willing to settle. So as Tony Robbins say, raise your standards or raise that thermostat. So one of the ways to raise that thermostat, we talked about this week a little bit, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say this before, but at the end of the day, writing in your journal and complimenting yourself and reminding yourself of the habits that you created for yourself or did or worked or acted out today, and you write out at least 3, or maybe you make a rule of 5 and you say, okay, I switched out the potatoes for vegetables at the restaurant. I joined the new gym. I hired the trainer. I did some meal prep. I did my meal planning, whatever it was. And you remind yourself every night, all the things that you did that are bringing you towards your goals. And it starts to remind you, and it starts to offer yourself proof. What you believe is really a strong force also. So if I believe I can't do it, if I believe my thermostat is here and I can only be at this level of fitness or whatever, or money, we'll have a money thermostat, we have a weight thermostat, we have whatever thermostat we are in relationships. We have all kinds of thermostats. But if we're talking about weights, the same thing. If you remind yourself that you are doing the things that you need to do to get towards your goal, you really start to believe it. And now your subconscious mind will start to act it out even better. So you're really training your brain to do the things that you should do. Okay, so here is how we're going to create some new habits. So what are the processes of any habit? Any habit, there's 4 parts of it. There's the cue, or also known as the trigger, the craving, the reward, and the response. So the cue is the trigger. So for example, let's do another metaphor here. So say, for example, the habit is I get up and I drive to work, 5 days a week. And my habit is I stop at Starbucks and I get one of those Frappuccino. I don't go to Starbucks, so I don't know the names of all those things. But, the things that are like 800 calories and 80 grams of sugar, But it's just a habit. It's just what I've always done. That's who I am. That's just how I roll. That's how I'm wired. I've heard people say that. It's like, okay, well, let's rewire. We can rewire, by the way. So there's the cue. The cue is I'm driving to work. All right. The craving, oh, I'm driving to work. So now I'm triggered. Now I'm craving that Frappuccino thing. I'm thinking about the reward of the taste. And so my response is to go to the drive-through and get that Frappuccino thing. So let's redesign that a little bit. So for the cue, if we want to change our habits, we want to make some cues a little more obvious. So if I got the drive to work, go to Starbucks example, if I want to make it obvious, what I want to do is perhaps make a protein shake, have the protein shake stuff set out on the counter the night before, or perhaps I make some of those breakfast muffins that all I got to do is heat them in the microwave, but have them cooked and ready. Just all I got to do is warm it up, making it really obvious and right easy for us to do. If your goal is to drink more water, put water bottles all over the house. Make it obvious, make it just as obvious as you can. Create creating a desire for the new habit. Let's see. Let's see. So for the cue, number one of the ways we can do that is habit stacking, where you take an already existing habit and you stack it with a new one. So if you already brush your teeth in the morning, you put the thing that you want to add to it right next to it. So if I want to, I don't know, stretch, add some stretching to my morning routine, I connect stretching with brushing my teeth. Another thing is redesign your environment. Your environment is so important. What do you have in your house? What visual cues? What there's smells that can trigger us that are a cue. There's all kinds of things. But redesigning your environment, creating an environment where the desired outcome becomes easy. All right, number 2 for the craving. So we got to make it attractive. So if I want to change my habit of going for the Frappuccino, I got to switch it out for something else. So I really like the protein shake, especially if I put it in the blender. It's almost as good as that Frappuccino anyway. And now I know it's way lower in calories, way lower in sugar, way higher in protein, and going to take me to my goal. So that would be a way to make it more attractive, to shifting out those 2 habits. The reward, why do I feel like those are backwards? Okay, so you want to make it okay, so the reward is make it satisfying. By making it satisfying, one of the things that you can do is tracking your habits. In this case, if your protein shake tastes delicious, it's nice and chocolatey, or you like the mocha one, or what the strawberry, or whatever you like. If it's satisfying, it's likely that you will be able to stick with that habit. And then for the response, make it easy. Make it really easy. So if you already set your protein shake out, you already set the blender out, all you got to do is get the cold water out of the fridge and put it in or the ice out of the freezer, making it really easy. If going to the gym is a problem for you, make it easy. Go get the gym that's the closest to your house. If you don't want to go to the gym, set yourself up with a system or a plan that you can do work from home, making it easy. Or if you're the kind of person who wants to go to the gym on the way home from work, put 5 days or 3 days. If you're going to go to the gym 3 days, put 3 days of gym clothes in your car, because you know you're going to get to work, change into that gym clothes, and you'll wear them home. You still have 2 days left. So there's no excuse why you can't go to the gym on Wednesday and Friday as well. So the easier that we can make these habits, the more likely our response will be. And be patient. Like I said, in that 1%, it doesn't happen overnight. And this is where we all want to give up. This, thought I'd show this. You guys have probably seen this. I'm sure you've seen this. But there's the 4 stages of success. There's the uninformed enthusiasm or optimism, where we're excited. There's that motivation thing that we're, oh, excited, big, boom, boom, let's go. And then we start doing the thing, and it's a little harder work. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, but you hang in there. And then there's the valley of despair. And this is where people get discouraged. This is where I say, be patient. And here's your 1%. If you stick with it and you take just little 1%, little 1%, little 1%, not everybody makes it out of the valley of despair. But if you stick with your 1% and you stay patient with yourself, you get to step 4, which is informed optimism. Now you know, well, you maybe not to your goal, but you realize, wow, I am 17 pounds down. All my clothes are really, really loose. My energy levels are soaring. My sleep is so much better. I still have more to go, but you're optimistic now. You're understanding. So be patient with yourself. If you just take the little tiny steps, you will eventually reach your goal. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit, but optimizing your environment. So if you're wanting to exercise more and you're going to do it from home, have your weights out, have your resistance bands out, have your mat right there. I keep mine behind my lazy boy chair. I still have a personal training client that I Zoom with her a few times a week. And I use this equipment for myself sometimes too, but I keep it all right behind the chair. So it's all in a basket, my weights, my bands, that stuff, the mat, the ball. It's there. So again, if you want to drink more water, putting water bottles around you. If you're trying to eat healthy, put, like your fruit bowl with avocados and apples and healthy things, your bell peppers, have that visible, making your environment more productive and reminding you, these are again little triggers, little cues. These are the cues. The 2-minute rule. I love this one. So you take a behavior that you want to start creating, and then you shrink it down to how much of that behavior can I do in 2 minutes. And again, I think this is kind of comparable to that 1%. We start with that one push-up, right? And we work our way up to 2, and then 3, and then 4. So if going to the gym is the habit that I'm trying to make, start with a 2-minute rule. What can I do in 2 minutes? Well, it could be something as simple as just putting the tennis shoes on, or looking up on the internet the gyms in the 3 gyms that are closest to me. And it could be a yoga studio, could be Pilates, could be a personal training gym, it could be a boxing gym. But what, in 2 minutes, what can you do? Because every time you check the box, okay, I did the thing, I put the tennis shoes on today. The next day I looked up the 3 closest gyms. Day number 3, I drove by one. You don't even have to go in. Just take 2 minutes to drive by. Maybe day 4 you go in, or you set the appointment to meet with them to see what their deal is. You break it into 2 minutes. Again, if you're trying to learn how to cook more, you can make those protein pancakes in 2 minutes. Find something, or the 90-second bread that I've talked about with the flaxseed. Break it down, because once you do it, you feel good about yourself. When you feel good about, you feel accomplished. It feels like, okay, I can do this. And then it's, okay, what can I do next? What's the next 2-minute rule? What's the next 2 minutes? What's the next 2 minutes? Don't worry about the next 2 minutes until you get through this first 2 minutes. And it doesn't even have to be today. Just do 2 minutes today, and then you stack it, stack it, stack it, stack it. Habit stacking, we talked about that a little bit. That's your cue. So you take an already existing habit, and then you pair it with something that you'd like to do. Temptation bundling. That is where you take something that you love, a thing that you love. So if you love, watching a certain TV show, but you really want to exercise more, maybe you watch that show while you're on the treadmill, or you watch that show while you're meal prepping, or something of that nature. But you bundle something that you love with something that you not so crazy about it, and eventually your brain will be triggered or be cued to connecting the reward of that thing that you get to have once you do the thing that you don't love so much. So that's a really helpful way to do it. And then CCIA. Anyone want to guess what that is? I made this PowerPoint, probably a year ago, and I couldn't remember what it was. So I had to go back and look up my notes, and I realized it's in a Post-it right on my window here, but it's consistent, committed, imperfect action. So what does that mean? So, okay, so you sign up for this program and you start in your journaling, and you send me your journal pages. And you just do the best that you can, right? You just do the best that you can. So say you're journaling and some of the foods are not on the menu, or we suggested that you avoid that. I don't care that you ate it, because the point is you're trying and you're consistent with your journaling, and you made your best choice that you thought was right. I've had that happen to me for 20 years. people go, well, I was at the Starbucks, so I picked the yogurt parfait thing. And I'm like, and because I figured that was the most healthy, because yogurt's healthy, right? Well, most of us have been taught through life yogurt is healthy. So she made her best choice in that moment. We come back and say, well, yogurt's not on the menu right now because we're off of dairy. Or yogurt has a lot of sugar, so make sure it's a plain yogurt if you're including yogurt, things of that nature. It doesn't have to be perfect, but consistent, committed, imperfect action. Again, it's back to those little disciplines, and or those chips in that block that eventually get that job done. Oh, already. So I put my funnies at the end here. I'm a cat person, so I just thought we were talking about exercise. It's Saturday. Should I sit down and do nothing, or should I lay down and do nothing? And I just love that little face. But does anybody have any questions or thoughts?
Oh, hi, Tami, it's Pat. I just wanted to say, I've been with you now for next month, it'll be 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
And yes, I know. And I just want to say this program has been just fantastic. And I can remember you talked about journaling, and for the first year I journaled. I was like afraid not to journal. If I didn't write everything down and calculate it, I was going to go off of it. But then I realized it became a lifestyle and I could just continue doing it without having to write everything down. And I do remember you telling me at one time, this was back when I was working so many hours and I didn't have a lot of me time for exercise and I wasn't getting in a lot of steps. Well, I did finally get my treadmill and I've increased my steps more than double. And I have been able to maintain my weight loss. And I just want to say thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And what you just described is you created like your little systems, which are these little disciplines and little habits. And now you don't even have to write it down because it's just automatic. They're just
Exactly.
because we practice this stuff over and over again, it's automatic.
And
So
it's funny too because a lot of people, I just went on vacation and actually I lost 3 pounds while I was on vacation.
what?
And I was with family and my sister, she goes, you've got to tell me, we're going to go shopping. You tell me what to buy as far as the food goes. And, you know, and so I felt like, gee, I feel like Tami here.
Well, I'm sure you picked up a lot.
I have in 2 years.
Make it accessible, make it easy.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I just love that testimonial because you just went through what I said. You just really created good habits. And because you repeated, even the habit of repeating your visualizations, every time we repeat something, repetition is the mother of mastery, as they say.
Right.
So by you repeating and you're still doing most of it 2 years later, but you don't have to write it down. I think that's awesome. Okay, so I do have a new email, coach@drinfantino.com, if you're not aware of that. And also, if you're still working with me one-on-one, you can book your one-on-one coaching calls through this scheduling link. It's just tammy.drinfantino.com. And that you can use that to schedule your coachings there. If you guys want to take a screenshot, otherwise I am done. Any other questions or thoughts or questions unrelated to habits?
It's great reminders.
Oh, good.
I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins and John Ron, all of them. So just it's being reinforced, and it's really, I go, oh yeah, I had that in my Tony Robbins class that I took for a week, and
Did
um,
you go, which one did you go to?
I was in March. I just did it this past March.
Was it in Phoenix?
No, I did. It was all Zoom,
Oh,
and it was free.
yeah, I think I couldn't make that because I had something else. I went to the Unleash the Power Within in New York years ago. And
Oh,
it's
nice.
in
Yeah.
person, and it's just, you can imagine just how powerful the in-person stuff is. If you ever go in person though, bring a jacket. He likes it cold. And don't plan to get a lot of sleep or eat because he doesn't take breaks. And he goes late into the night. He does, I don't know where he gets
Him
his
in
own energy.
person, but it was years ago when I was working, and our office sent like 7 of us in management to this. It was a full day long um, motivational event with multiple speakers that were there who were all just dynamic in their field. And he was one that was there, and I've been a huge fan of his ever since. So um, he is good. And I bought, based on his recommendation, one of the books by John, I think the Seasons of Life.
By
I don't know if
who?
you've seen that one. John Rohn.
Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn, I'm sorry.
Jim Rohn. Seasons
Jim
of
Rohn.
Life.
I'm
Oh,
thinking of
I
the
bet it's
golfer,
good. No, I
John
don't
Rohn.
know that book. I don't know that one. I bet that well.
It's
I'm,
small. It's not it's probably about like your this one.
oh,
Um
thank
and
you.
it's really it's a quick read, and it's really interesting.
Good, good. Yeah, we keep filling our head with stuff. What you feed your mind is as important as what you feed your body. And, that goes both ways. Like, I got into a bad habit of watching these like TikTok reels. And so it's like these 30-second clips, and then you watch another one, then you watch another one. I'm like, oh my God, I'm training myself to be ADD. I'm really like anything over 30 seconds, I'm lost. Like, stop doing that. But we keep doing it.
And you've just wasted 30 minutes probably. That I've done
It's
it,
easy to go. It's easy to do a 30-minute run on those things if you're not paying attention. So you got
I
to give
started
yourself.
using Duolingo and learning languages. So I'm been learning French for 2 years, and now I've just started Italian because we're doing our trip. So I'm doing both, and it just helps just keep your mind working, I think,
That's
between the
great.
reading and the, um, yeah, it just, since I retired, I don't want to just be stagnant and not do things that I'd wanted to do before that I didn't have time to do. So
No, that's great. That's what retirement should be. It's not about a rocking chair. It's about getting to do like
yes,
learning the
right.
language and then going to the country where that language is and learning their history and then
Hmm.
seeing it. Oh, you're learning the history, you learn the language, and then you go see it and speak it and do it and experience it. I think now that is a retirement. That's why I'm trying to figure out how to retire like wealthy. So I can do, I want at least a couple of those trips a year. But my vitamin store kind of kicked my butt, so I have to scramble to figure out how to come back from that. But
Yeah.
anyway, so all right. Any other thoughts or questions or concerns or
Think I will, because I'm going to continue my program. I I think officially today is almost my ending. I'm at the end of the book, where it says day 85 and out or something like that, 84 and out. So, and I'm with me continuing it. I received your message the other day with the information. So I need to redo my measurements and all of that to start this next
did
step
you,
in the
you're in
process. And
Arizona, right?
yes,
Yeah, so
Glendale.
go. So did you go in the office?
I've been in the office, but I haven't been there recently.
So you don't do the therapies anymore?
No, I did them. I did them maybe twice, and I didn't like how they made me feel. So I told them I wasn't coming back for that.
Okay.
I didn't like it at all.
Okay. None of them? Even the sauna?
No, that was probably the one I liked the least.
Oh, wow.
It's really hard for me to just sit like that for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it was.
That's why we bring the headphones and we listen to
And I
James
did.
Clear
I brought
online.
one of my books, and it just,
Didn't
I don't
work.
know. I just didn't work for me. But
Well, I was going to say, like, you could go in there and just at least get your weigh in and your after photos, kind of, you know, if you wanted. I mean, I'm sure they took a before photo. They usually do.
they did. Yeah, they did. Like I said, I've not been completely perfect with the program and haven't lost nearly what I had hoped I would. But so I don't know the pictures would it's I think I'm down 15 pounds, so I don't think I would it would show
But
much in
15 pounds
photos.
on when if you look at it before and after, 15 pounds is significant. I mean, if you want, they took the picture, you might as well get the after. You could go in 2 weeks from now if you
Yes.
want to stay compliant and then maybe take off a few more pounds.
Mhm.
You could still do it that way too if you want. I mean, if you purchase the sessions, you have
Okay.
that capability to go in there and have them weigh you in and picture you and stuff. And then
Okay.
also you might see if you could trade it in for a wrap or something if they're still doing those. I don't know. So it's
For a
like they
for a
do a
what?
body wrap. They used to do body wraps. I haven't heard anybody mention it in a while.
Oh.
And Erica's the only one who does it. And I think now she's running the office. So I don't know if she has time for that or not.
Yeah, the
So
three that I did were the sauna, the um
full
glider with
body
oxygen, and
and full
the
body
shaking.
vibration. Yeah. Yeah, that's the common. So
I literally I would come home and have to sleep. I couldn't it exhausted me, which was crazy. I know they
yeah.
were pulling up a lot of toxins, whatever, but I felt worthless for the rest of the day.
Mm.
So I don't know.
I wonder if you went in and just did one thing, like just whole body. And,
Mhm.
like, especially now that it's been 12 weeks. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to encourage you to do something that doesn't make you feel good because, you know, like I said, with the habit, it
Right.
has to be a reward. If the reward is I don't feel good, that's going to make me not want to do it. So
You're right. Yeah.
anyway, if you wanted to go in and just do one, get your picture and all of that, but maybe wait a few weeks and see if you can stay real compliant and then
Okay.
deal. Anyway, anything else or questions, comments?